Greg, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy. Welcome, race fans, to iRacing Night here on Fans Choice TV, iRacing Live, and all of our affiliates. We're getting ready to go racing at the Michigan International Speedway with the NASCAR iRacing Class B Open Division. We are getting ready to grid these race cars for 63 laps around this racetrack. Tim Terry and Joe Cortez with you. And Joe, let's start with our starting lineup. As these guys start the grid, we've got one lap, and we've got a big field to get to. The first car is already on the racetrack. It's Greg McKinney in car number 5 from the team. To the outside, former NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series driver Jason Burstein.
28 drivers start the field today. Let's go down to row number 2, where Justin Bolton, the number 1 car, will start on the inside. On the outside of him, the 19 of Ryan Manning starts position number 4.
He won a few weeks ago here. He's going to be strong in this B car. Chad Coleman in the number 9 will start in position number 5 to the outside. Point leader in this series, Trent Ringler in the 17.
Behind them will be the 27 of Jeremy Olson in position number 7. Ryan Lowe, the 8 of the 3 machine, position number 8.
He's already won a NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series race this season. Alan Bowes in the 6 to the outside. Alex Bergeron in the 20.
As they roll down off the line, let's continue going down the order. In row number 6, will be the 23 of Michael Van Der Sal on the inside. On the outside of him, the 13 of Matt Kocher.
Got Brandon Trost in the number 14, James Frizzle in the 24.
Jordy Lopez Jr. will start position number 15 in the 4 machine. Brandon Bowie, a name you've heard before, he'll start in the car number 7 in position number 16.
You got Blake Bryant rolling off from position number 17 in the 8, and Dylan Jones in the 10.
That'll be Matthew Wright in position number 19. Behind him, Nicholas Shelton in position number 20.
Richard Holiday in the 15. Good to see Dan Denaire in the field. He'll start 22nd.
Always great to see Dan Denaire in the field. Behind them, Tony Monge, Shane Williamson will start position number 23 and 24, followed by a name you know very well, Tim.
Yeah, that's J.D. Laird of JDR Graphics. He'll start in 25th. To the outside of him is going to be Kyle Wicca.
Running out this field of 28 tonight will be Devin Janikowski and Ryan Wells, setting an even number of cars on the field tonight. 63 laps around the 2-mile D-Oval here at Michigan, the high banks among the Irish Hills here in central Michigan, getting ready to heat up as we get ready to do business around this very big track, Tim.
We'll talk about the new build that these guys have to deal with, the new rules package for these Class B Xfinity-style race cars in just a few moments' time. But we're getting ready to go at it for 63 laps. Regardless what rules package you're on, Joe, we're getting ready to go racing with it for 63 laps around this 2-mile racetrack, and we are underway. Green flag flies, and the 5 of Greg McKinney, the 1 of Justin Bolton and Ryan Manning, all from the team on the inside, and they'll go into corner number 1 at 1, 2, 3.
Greg McKinney, who retains the lead, but with Justin Bolton right behind him, doing everything he can. 2 wide behind him, the 19 now gets loose. Sideways, the 19 goes. He will go inside, come back out, saves the car, but Ryan Manning's going to lose a lot of position. Still green on the field.
Yeah, he's going to go all the way to the back of the running order, back to position number 26, I believe that is, on the field. Tough break for him, as he will fall all the way to the rear of the running order. Greg McKinney in the number 5 will lead, coming up at a corner number 4, and he will lead lap number 1. The 2 of Jason Burstein, the 1 of Justin Bolton, they'll change positions on your scoring monitor. Bolton will go back to, Burstein will go back to position number 3. We're 3 wide in the middle of this pack here, and that's the great thing about this virtual Michigan as it is in real life. These guys can fan out 3 and 4 wide, Joe, and have no problem unless somebody loses the handle of that race car.
Which is very easy to do. Don't let those big wide, deep turns fool you, Tim. They will be happy to swallow you up if you don't respect them properly. As the 14 still gets hung out on the inside, the 14 belonging to Blake Bryant. Nowhere to go for him but backwards as the freight train below him continues to jug forward. 3 wide once again is an 8 to 23, the 24 doing business at the start-finish line, and it's only lap number 3, guys. Lap number 3.
3 wide around the number 8 of Blake Bryant as they try to get that back to 2 wide. The 23 on the outside of Van Isdal, the 11 of Matthew Wright on the inside. We've seen a lot of those two drivers. You look back from the number 23 of Michael Van Isdal. We've seen him, we've seen Matthew Wright in that 11 car behind him a few times this season in our coverage of iRacingNight as the 23 gets on the inside of the number 8, close quarter racing through 3 and 4. This is the battle for position number 11 as Van Isdal tries to take it back away from car number 8 of Blake Bryant. It's going to be Bryant at the line, but it's going to be the 23 on the inside. A lot of familiar names as they continue to go at it just around that 10th place position.
Lots of familiar names doing battle here at the Oval of Michigan in the middle of the Irish Hills. But, right now everyone's kind of settling in. Closest battle on the field is for position number 11, it looks like, as we ride along the 8 of Blake Bryant. 3 wide behind him, the 11 of Matthew Wright, the 23 of Andesol, the 14 of Trost. They will go 2 wide, think better of it in the turn, but it could be 2 by 2 behind them. More 3 wide action now around the 22, the 24, and 18. These guys are getting lulled to a sense of security early, too, and I've got a feeling it's not going to end well for anybody.
Yeah, these guys are trying to move as quick as they can to the front of the field. Should something happen that a caution flag does come out, rebunches them again, and they can go at it, or if it does go green, they can pick up as many positions as they can now while they're all bunched together. The 24 got a little sideways back there. The 16 car just ahead of them is 3 wide. Dan Denaire pulls his foot out of it. The 14 of Brandon Trost on the outside now. The 22 of J.D. Laird. Laird is on the move. And that 14 car of Brandon Trost, he was the one, Joe, you mentioned a couple of moments ago, 3 widest cautions on the speedway.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to backfire on somebody. It looks like Dylan Jones is going to be the recipient of that backfire in the number 10 machine. Let's take a look at exactly how that happened. It looks like it all started actually behind him, that Dylan Jones may have been a casualty a little bit there, maybe even net-coded just a little bit after perceived contact or a potential contact with the 15 machine that behind him, that 15 belonging to Richard Holiday and the 19 of Ryan Manning. We'll get that in the box for you here real quick so you can see exactly what happened with the 10-15 almost colliding there. Net code 10 of the 10 around, and that is going to bring out the first caution of the evening.
Regardless of the prediction code, 4 wide in that little box is not going to work, regardless if they think that there or not. But the 10 of Dylan Jones goes around, the caution flies, and we will be under the caution flag for the first time this evening. Joe, 6 laps completed. Do these guys come down pit road?
In any event, I mean, you're absolutely right there, Tim. 3 wide, 4 wide racing. It's gonna come back to haunt you in some way, shape, or form. And I think these guys trying to figure out what to do about that as they now come down pit road. Greg McKinney will lead everybody down the field into their pit stalls, and I've got a feeling everybody not only looking for tires here, maybe a little bit of splash of fuel, but an adjustment on these cars, something to fix them, anything to manipulate these cars to get them to turn, and more importantly, get them to grip no matter where they're at on this track. 2 tires up so far. Look for 4 tires around the horn. It will be 4 tire stops for at least leaders, and one guy's going to go taking a 2 tire stop. Jeremy Olofsson only takes 2 tires. He is down and away, and he will lead the field off of pit road. Craig McKinney off 2nd, Jason Bernstein off 3rd, Trent Ringler 4th, and Justin Bolton off 5th.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad call right now. 7 laps into this race, taking 2 tires just to see how it works. Everybody coming down, taking 4 tires, filling it full of fuel. When you look at the first 7 laps of this race, Joe, there was a green flag look to it, albeit there was the 2 and 3 wide. And in that case that we just saw, a 3.5, maybe 4 wide, whatever way you want to cut it. It did look like we were going to have some green flag racing. But the one thing we mentioned off the top of the show, there's a brand new build here. There's a brand new rules package that just came out today. And these guys download the update. It's just like NASCAR, changing some of the rules or some of the nuances on the fly throughout the season. It's pretty much you have to build your setup. It's not a complete brand new sheet of paper, Joe, but these guys had to go through with their pencils, strike out a bunch of things, erase a bunch of things from last season, the last 12-week season, and try to add more things to it, try to change things to make it better. It doesn't matter what realm of racing you're in, whether you're on a short track oval or whether you're on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series or anything in between, in order to continue to go fast, you have to continually adjust to your race car, and that's what these guys are going to have to do here this evening. Lights are already off. We're going racing next time by.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I think the disadvantage that these guys have, which is why you're seeing so many big names in the field tonight, is that they didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to change the car. They didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to get in front of this new download, Tim, and so these guys are now not necessarily behind the 8 ball, but they're doing whatever they can in order to understand what this is about, what this race is going to do, and what this new build's going to do for them. What they learn here tonight, they can apply in a few weeks when the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing goes back to Green Flag Racing. And I think the really cool thing too about the break that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, the break they baked in allows them time to understand this new build, understand what it means for their cars, and ultimately give them the competitive edge when they go back to Green Flag Racing.
But we do run Michigan next week for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. So yes, there is a break following Michigan, but these guys have a week from this evening to work on this very racetrack, albeit this car, the B car, differs from the A car. Can't really take a whole lot from this car, move it over to the other one for next Tuesday night. But you do see some drivers in this field getting a little bit of a feel for this racetrack, at least the build in the B car. Pace car in, you're going to ride on with the 5 car as we go green. The 20 car, Bergeron did not pit. The 27 on the outside, Olesen has 2 tires. Everybody else behind, 4 fresh ones, including Greg McKinney, who was your former leader, and he'll chase the 2 in front of him going down into 1.
Bergeron gets a big jump. Olesen, who led everyone off pit road, is going to be second. Greg McKinney and Jason Bernstein now doing a little bit of battle, but it will be advantage McKinney as he will get the jump off the 2. The 2 is not going to give up position so quick. Next battle behind them, Trent Ringler, Justin Bolton side by side. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but it looks like the team's struggling early with this new build, except for Greg McKinney, who's doing very well, still in 3rd. But the problem is he's got to figure out what he's got to do in order to make this car more competitive.
I think it's just pit strategy there, as the 1 car at Justin Bolton nearly took the 17 for a ride. A couple of guys going down into the dirt to make those passes, and that's really what you have to do here at Michigan. You have to dive towards that apron in order to make those passes on the straightaway, set up your run, get that draft, and really set it up coming off the corner. The 1 of Justin Bolton down to the inside. You have battle for the lead up in front. The 5 car of Greg McKinney going to go back to the top. Jason Bernstein to the inside. And the 2, 17 car, Trent Ringler here as well. 20 car and 27. The 2 top on the outside. Those are the ones that A stayed out, B took 2 tires. It's not working for them. They're going to the back. And Greg McKinney is going to be scored as your leader here.
So the 2-tire experiment did not work, and it's probably the better idea to get it out now, get it out in front of everybody now, instead of trying to make that experiment later on and losing vital position when it counts. Remember, we're only on lap 11. 63 laps is the number of laps we're going to run for this feature. McKinney and Bernstein 1st and 2nd. Now a battle brewing for 3rd as Trent Ringler and Justin Bolton getting ready to go side by side. Bolton putting the nose underneath the 17 of Ringler. Ringler closes the door quickly, and now we're having some more battles going on. The 20 and 11 make contact going into turns 3 and 4. The 27 on the outside. The 9, the 6. Everyone scattering as we might get some more 3-wide, maybe even 4-wide racing here in Michigan.
Jason Bernstein to the inside ahead of them, and Jason Bernstein will go to the lead. Greg McKinney will fall back to position number 2 behind them. Trent Ringler is trying to get something working on that high side, and it's not working for him. Justin Bolton up to 3rd. 4th is going to belong to the 4 car of Jordy Lopez, easy for me to say. He goes underneath. The 3 of Ryan Lowe going to be there as well. The 17 of Ringler going to be dispatched outside the top 5.
Still side by side, though, around position number 10. It looks like the 6, the 9, the 14 all doing battle. Let's start with the 6 of Alan Bowes. Remember, like as Kim said at the beginning of this race, he did, in fact, win a race here. Now you're right on the rear bumper of that number 4 machine. That's Jordy Lopez Jr. And you see the trains coming behind him. Ryan Lowe, Trent Ringler both getting ready to do business. Alex Bergeron, Matthew Wright, Alan Bowes now jumping on as the 14 and 9 getting really aggressive very early.
You got the 9 car to the inside, the 14 side by side. That's the battle for position number 10 in the first side by side battle. But behind them, Joe, as you mentioned, they are getting busy. 2 and 3 wide. J.D. Laird in the 22, thinking about 3 wide of the 19 car of Ryan Manning. Manning, the 23 on the outside now of Vanisdal, and J.D. Laird forced on the apron. Manning going to come up the racetrack, let him have a little bit of room there, but I'm sure Ryan Manning wants to be running a little closer to the front of the field. A couple of weeks ago, he was a winner here on iRacing Night, but after that first spin, or half spin, he saved it. He went from the front of the field to the rear of the field, Joe. I'm sure he's having a tougher time trying to pick his way through this traffic. There's a lot of good iRacers here tonight because this is week 13 on the service. There's no other official series running with point standings being tracked. That's why we have a lot of good cars here, and Ryan Manning being one of them. He's going to have his hands cut, or work cut out for him here.
I certainly don't hope he doesn't get his hands cut. That would be a little embarrassing for everybody involved. Nonetheless, Jason Person continues to lead. Greg McKinney second, Bolton third, Lopez fourth, and Ryan Lowe, your top 5, is now the 27. And that's Jeremy Olofsson. He took 2 tires. He started leading this field. He's now going to set position number 12, and it looks like he's going to lose position again to the 8 of Blake Bryant, who's trying to look underneath the inside of Jeremy Olofsson. The 19 and 7 behind him. That's Brandon Bowie in the 7. The 19 of Ryan Manning on the inside. Manning's going to start digging hard. It looks like Manning's got somewhere he wants to go here in a hurry. The question is, can he do it from position number 16?
Definitely needs to start pushing towards the front of the field, albeit it is lap 16. You might be thinking, okay, well, it's still early in the race. Keep in mind, this is only a 63-lap race. And if these guys get to pushing late in the race, like we saw a little bit earlier here, there could be a few cautions near the end of this, Joe. So not saying that Ryan Manning is in a bad spot right now. Still very early, still shy of the halfway point. But you have to believe Ryan Manning is going to start trying to pick off these positions. Bringing along Matt in the 13 car behind him. Going to pick up one more there on the 7 of Bowie. Bowie going to fall back one. But with the caliber of the field, with this being Michigan, with the rules package that they're on, got to believe that Ryan Manning is thinking, I got to start picking my way towards the front of the field. There's the 27 car that took 2 tires on that first caution flag of the evening about 10 laps ago, not working out well for him. He's already back to 15th, and Manning going to go to the inside and try to put him back to 16th.
Tim, I don't know if it's just you or me as we watch a 26 and 11 now do battle. It's Devin Janikowski, who started almost at the tail end of this field, get around the 11 of Matthew Wright. I don't know about if you're seeing this or if it's just me seeing this, but I've got a feeling that this particular build is making everybody a little bit more racy tonight. I'm seeing everybody drive a little bit more aggressive. I'm seeing everybody drive a little bit harder out there, and it's really kind of cool to watch. If this is the new build, this really could be advantageous to anybody who likes to go fast and turn left.
You know, it might be a product of Michigan as well, because iRacing did a fantastic job with this racetrack when they scanned it. You're looking at the 20 and 25 car. That's Bergeron and Kyle Wicca. Behind them, the 26, the 11, the 8, all going at it. Nice little battle. The 14 of Brandon Tross just ahead of Bergeron. Bergeron to the outside, the 25 to the inside. Going to bring Janikowski with him in the 26, and it looks like the 20 car going to be dispatched a couple of positions here. Keep in mind, he did not pit underneath the first caution flag of the evening. He is still out on his original gear from the first 19 laps of this race, but I think it is. I haven't seen a whole lot of the A car or the car that the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series runs yet today on this brand new build, Joe, but if it races like this and it races like Michigan International Speedway is tonight, we could be in for a barn burner next week.
Oh, absolutely we could. Just imagine all the top tier teams getting behind this new build, getting behind this car. And again, you see guys from those top tier teams. You see the team being represented out there. You see Alan Bowes running out there. You see guys who are normally running the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series running this race tonight in order to get ready for that next week's race, for that race at Michigan when we try it again here in the Peak Antifreeze Series car. You see a lot of guys really trying to figure out what they can do with this car now. And I still have a feeling whatever they learn from this car will benefit them when they go green flag racing in 1 week's time.
You see the 8 car side by side, Blake Bryant, that's for 13th place. In the box up in front, it's Jason Burstein leading a field of 5 around this racetrack. And they actually have about a second or so on position number 6 of Trent Ringler. That's Jason Burstein, Greg McKinney, Justin Bolton, Jordy Lopez, and Ryan Lowe. And you look at the top 5 here, Joe. We talked about NASCAR Pagani Free Series drivers. Yes, Justin Bolton and Ryan Lowe. A part of that, Greg McKinney, a former Pro Series driver, as is Jordy Lopez from the last season of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series. Jason Burstein, a former NASCAR Pagani Free Series competitor back a few seasons ago, right around when they started the series in 2010, 2011, he was a part of the series. There's a lot of talent right now up within this top 5, and you can see it as they snake around this racetrack and begin to pull away from the rest of the field. And half the reason why they're pulling away from the rest of the field, Joe, is because most of that field is side-by-side. That first side-by-side battle back there around Ryan Manning. As you see the 14's roof cam, that's Brandon Trost, and 3 cars up is that Ryan Manning car who goes side-by-side with Janikowski.
And Ryan Manning and Devon Janikowski, both drivers, very hungry. Both drivers are towards the back of the field. Remember, Janikowski started position number 27 when he threw the green flag. And the guy underneath him, the 19 of Ryan Manning, he started position number 4. So Ryan Manning trying to make up some position, but Janikowski trying to make a point here tonight and trying to make a name for himself here in this NASCAR Class B Open Series race at Michigan International Speedway. The 1926 now once again side by side, and Tim, you mentioned it right there. Your top leaders right now, they're getting away. They're starting to pull away from everybody, because when you run side by side on a gigantic track like this, a 2-mile D-oval as Michigan is, you lose a draft, you lose the side by side, you lose the single file racing, and you lose the speed that you would normally have from that giant wind tunnel created by all those cars.
Once again, Jason Burstein is your leader. The 5 of Greg McKinney is the driver behind, and Greg McKinney, usually a spotter. He spots for Ryan Manning sometimes in the B Open series that we usually see here, but now he's decided to trade the headset in for a helmet. He is running in position number 2. Justin Bolton, his teammate, in position number 3 with Jordy Lopez and Ryan Lowe, your top 5. And then about a second behind is Trent Ringler, but Ringler's been run down here in the last couple laps by Alan Bowes. Bowes right behind the 17, and the 6 is going to go underneath the 17. That'll put him up to position number 6. So Alan Bowes up to position number 6 as your leader. Greg McKinney, Jason Burstein is chased by Greg McKinney. Looked like McKinney was going to try to take something there at a corner number 4. Nothing doing there, but he'll tuck in the line behind the 2.
Nothing doing there, but you see McKinney starting to get a little racy down there. You see him getting a little excited. It's possible he could have something up his sleeve. Currently scoring lap 25 of 63, over a third of the way done here at Michigan. And so far, if you're just tuning in now, the racing has been exciting, to say the least. More exciting racing now going on for position number 11 as Devon Janikowski, the hard charger of the night so far, trying to hold off the 8 of Blake Bryant, the 11 of Matthew Wright, and the 13 of Matt Kocher, as these guys try to start passing each other. No dice so far. They're going to stay in line, but the 13, the 8, they're peeking. They're trying to bide their time, and here they go.
And there goes the number 8 and the number 13 on the inside of the 26 and 11, respectively. The 8 car of Blake Bryant going to try to pick up that position. That would be 11th place. And the 13, Matt's looking on Matthew for that position, and they're going to still be side by side down that back straightaway. And don't look now, quietly creeping into the picture is J.D. Laird in the number 22, as he's got Brandon Trost in front of him. They continue to go side by side, though, in front of them. 13 and 11. The 11 comes down the racetrack a little bit. The 13 holds his line there. That was almost big, Joe, as they come out of corner number 4. This will be 26 laps completed right here for these guys.
Don't count it out just yet. It still could be pretty big here, as the 13 and 11 still have not completed doing business. But look in front of them. The 8 of Blake Bryant, the 11 of the 26 of Janikowski, as now we go back to the lead. Greg McKinney has once again picked up the lead over Jason Burstein. Now Justin Bolton and Jordy Lopez trying to get underneath that 2 machine and pick up a little bit of position for themselves. So Greg McKinney, who started at position number 1, is going to take back position number 1. Justin Bolton trying to join his teammate over there in the front of the position, as a 2 now gets into the safer barrier. Here comes the 1 and 4.
Battle for second. Burstein on that outside line got a little close to that wall at a corner number 4, as he got that 1 car to the inside. Now the 4 of Jordy Lopez trying to throw some dirty air maybe around that 1 and that 2. The 3 car runs in position number 5, as he's watching back here, maybe waiting for something to happen. Bolton trying to clear Jason Burstein going down to the corner here, and it might get to the point, Joe, where Bolton overdrives a race car or Burstein overdrives a race car, trying to pick up that spot. It looks like Bolton's going to get that run at a corner number 4 pass, complete it, and the 4 is going to try to do the same. You're at the point that you're close to that halfway point in the race. We're still about a handful of laps away from halfway, but now you got to start thinking about getting some track position, possibly coming down pit road. There's some things that I'm sure they're thinking in the back of their minds right now. It's a 63-lap race, and we're working lap 29.
Richard Holiday just came off pit road in the 15 machine. It looks like he was off track for a few laps there with some electrical issues in that machine. He's back on track now, but he's going to have a lot of time to make up back on the field. Top 5 remain unchanged for the most part, and they've got a nice little gap on the rest of the field. Top 5, only a half of a second between them. The gap between the leader and Alan Bowes in the number 6 machine is currently in 6th. 2 seconds. So your top 5 really getting a big run here in Michigan, and if they can stay in line and if they can get the guys behind them to break up, that lead is only going to grow.
You look at the back of the number 4 car, Jordy Lopez. Lopez right now in position number 3. See Jason Burstein back there in car number 2 in position number 4, and Ryan Lowe's fallen off this pace a little bit in position number 5, but you look way back there, about a second and a half. It's back to Alan Bowes, Trent Ringler, Chad Coleman, and the rest of the field. These top 5 have done a fantastic job. For the most part, Joe, at least the last couple of laps haven't been, but it looks like they've got back to that single file formation. They've done a great job getting single file, staying in that single file formation, and with that have pulled away a little bit from the rest of the field. Now Ryan Lowe might be struggling a little bit here. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself and Jason Burstein. He's going to try to reattach himself to this top 4 freight train that's up front.
He may have to figure out what to do to reattach himself to that group. The problem is, if he cannot make up that gap, if he cannot pick up the deficit, the three of Ryan Lowe will continue to drop. Good news for him, though, is Alan Bowes, Trent Ringler, Chad Coleman are all in line. Richard Holiday trying to stay way out of the leader's way right now. Holiday being scored 2 laps down on the field as he's actually going to get passed now by the 9. Now Brandon Trost going off pit road. Not sure what he was doing down on pit road, but he's off now. We'll find out more about his condition in a moment.
Continuing to run the green flag on lap 32 of 63 as your top 4 have broken away. Ryan Lowe falling back. Alan Bowes has just been passed by Trent Ringler. Trent Ringler going to move up into position number 6, and here comes the 15 car. Mentioned him earlier, Joe. He was down on pit road for numerous laps as Holiday goes to the inside, and Alan Bowes has fallen off the pace here a little bit from Ringler and the rest of these guys here. I'm not sure. I think he let Holiday pass by there, but he's lost a lot of time in this last couple laps here.
Yeah, he has. That is definitely not going to be good for him. He's going to need a yellow flag to come out here sometime in Michigan. And the good news is, for him, it entirely could come out. Remember, these guys are still racing pretty hard out there. These guys are still trying to go side by side and do a whole lot of things out here. So side-by-side racing and a caution flag are not things that may not happen. Shane Williamson now down to the attention of his crew, and he will be the second driver on the lead lap to come down and get fuel and gas for his machine. 4 tires stop and a full tank of Sunoco racing fuel for these drivers, and the Camaro of Shane Williamson down and away. Now coming down pit road is Alan Bowes.
Bowes down on pit road along with the 3 of Ryan Lowe. They're going to come down and get service to their race cars, as they'll be the first within the top 10 to come down pit road and get service to their race cars. We'll see if Ryan Manning and maybe the team will come down in these next couple laps or so. But Kevin King is telling me right now that they're going to go 15 to 20 laps or until dry. At least those top 2 are. That could change in these next couple of laps, Joe, depending on what these others do. We have seen it before where the rest of the field has dictated the leader's hands in these races. The 11 car, Matthew Wright, comes off of pit road. But we'll see what kind of hand they do play. They are saying they can go 15 laps or so if push comes to shove.
And again, that architect of the team telling us Bolton and Greg and McKinney are going to both come in this time by. Will they come in to pit road this time by. McKinney, yes, is going to come down. Justin Bolton will come down. Jordy Lopez Jr. comes down. Chad Coleman, Ryan Manning, Matt Kocher all going to come down. Big wholesale pit stop down on pit road, and it's going to be a lot of drivers all looking for the same thing from their crews.
Yeah, the 4-car of Jordy Lopez also going to join the team down on pit road as they will come to the attention of their crew, and they'll get, we're assuming, Joe, 4 tires and fuel to run this thing out to the end of the race, as 2 tires go on the 2 team cars, the 5 and the 1, and they will get the other sides. They'll be down and away momentarily, and there goes the 4 of Jordy Lopez. Bolton is still sitting in his box right now. Very slow stop for Bolton.
Very slow stop for Bolton, as now the 2 machine of Jason Burstein is going to come down pit road. So 2 was the leader when he came down pit road. Now Justin Bolton coming off, James Frizzell coming off, Dane Denayer coming off in the 16 machine. Grayson Burstein just pulling into his stall this time around. His Camaro makes a clean stop. It'll be 4 tires, full tank of fuel for that number 2 machine, and now the 22 talking about coming down next time around. And I think this is a big one we're looking for, Tim. These are all the pit stops happening on that are going to happen on the field.
J.D. Laird is currently your leader in the 22. We'll see if he comes down this time by, as he will peel it down right here. J.D. Laird, the driver from California, will come down and get service on his race car. Should hand the lead over to Brandon Bowie, and indeed it does, in car number 7. So J.D. Laird will come down and get service to his race car, and it should cycle through with these last couple of pit stops happening. There are going to be a couple that do stay out. Olafson's going to stay out, and Bergeron going to stay out, but keep in mind, they were the drivers that stayed out on the last caution flag as well, so that they're on completely different strategies than everybody else.
In the 20 car of Alex Bergeron, he is on lap 38 and counting without coming down to the attention of his crew. So Bergeron, he is on a very interesting little strategy right here, as the third 20 now makes contact with the 28 of Ryan Wells. No incident there, but Wells definitely almost could have gotten the wall, and that could have changed everything for everybody out there. Bergeron continues his charge up front. Jeremy Olofsson, who had the 2-tire stop earlier, caution flag out in the field.
23 car, and there's one in the wall up here. That is the 23 of Van Isdal, and he'll get re-rolling again, and we'll see that caution flag. But the 23 car was through the grass, and Joe, I believe there might be another incident on this racetrack. That looks weird, though, for the 23, because that thing just went to the inside and came back out. But the 18 car also, I believe, gets involved in this.
He does get involved in this. What happens? Let's take a look at what happens to the 23 first, because that's what's going to bring out this caution flag for everybody. It looks like he already had some right front damage on his Camaro to start this race. Goes down on the apron, as many drivers do here at Michigan, and then just coming back up, transitioning to turn number 1, absolutely lost controls. Tried slowing down the car in order to try to get it back to work again. Didn't happen, and he will get back up in the racing field, and that will bring out the caution flag. But it's too little too late for the number 18 machine, the driver of that being Tony Monge. As with nowhere to go, he clips the back end of that machine. Heavy smoke starts pouring from his Camaro, and his night is, for all intents and purposes, done.
You know, it almost looks like a hardware issue on his end, just the way that car went down there, Joe. The controller might have locked up, his computer might have locked up, video card might have, you could go on about whatever is on your computer to run this service. I've had my wheel lock up on me before, and I run a Driving Force GT, so that could very well happen. Something might have happened to his gear, as Jeremy Olofsson is going to come down pit road, I believe, here. Bergeron, Wells, Lowe, Lopez, top 5, and here comes your leader, Olofsson, down on the pit road.
Olofsson will come down to pit road this time on. He will be joined by a handful of other drivers as well. Ryan Wells coming down pit road. Jeremy Olofsson, as we said, Brandon Bowie down pit road, this time by Vandesol on pit road for obvious reasons. Let's follow 27 of Olofsson as he makes the clean stop into his pit stall, slides it perfectly. It should be a 4-tire stop and a full tank of fuel for the number 27 Chevy Camaro. Remember, Olofsson experimented with a 2-tire stop earlier, did not work out very well for him, as you see a cadre of drivers pulling in front of him, and I believe it's a couple of drivers we've already seen on pit road. Chad Coleman back on pit road, Ryan Manning back on pit road, behind them Alan Bowes, Alex Bergeron coming off of pit road. So a lot of conflicting strategies all at once here, Tim, which could make for some very interesting racing as we go on back to green flag in a few laps.
Yeah, we're going to reset the field when we come back from commercial break. We'll have about 20 laps to go. You're watching iRacing Night here on Fans Choice, iRacing Live, and all of our affiliates. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to iRacing Night. Be sure to join in on the conversation if you're watching us here this evening on Fans Choice, iRacing Live, wherever you may be watching. Hashtag iRacing Night, and get in on the conversation on Twitter, and we might even read a couple of tweets if they're not already popping up on the bottom of the screen throughout the show. And speaking about popping up on the bottom throughout the show is our promo code. Go over to iRacing.com. Since you're watching us, fill out that promo code that you have on the bottom when you sign up for iRacing. Of course, that is good for new members only. You'll get 3 months for the price of 1, and you'll also get the late model stock. It's a great race car. If you're into short track racing, obviously, you're familiar with the late model stock. It's one of those cars, Joe, that you need to really master to get up into these Xfinity cars, the Camping World Truck Series trucks, and, of course, the Sprint Cup Series Class A cars that you see every second Tuesday night here on Fans Choice, iRacing Live, all of our affiliates and Motor Racing Network for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. And we head to Michigan 1 week time. Same track that we're at now, but we're going to run it with the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. The big boys going to go at it for, I believe it's 125 laps. I could be wrong on that one, but I think it's 125 laps next week. And then, as you mentioned, a little bit of a break in the season for them. So they get to play a little bit here, and if this racing is any indication, Joe, I think we're in for a really good show next week.
As a double file up, we're going to go back to green flag racing with a third of this race left to go, plus or minus. I think you're absolutely right there, Tim. I really think that if this is any indication of what we're going to see in a couple weeks' time, what we're going to see is some crazy racing from these guys. If they're having this much fun in the B-Class car, imagine what they can do when you have the technology, the teams, the brain, the thought power behind creating a race car that is designed to race every single surface of Michigan International Speedway. It's going to be a great show. You're not going to want to miss it. Just tune in back in at fanschoice.tv next Tuesday, 9 p.m., as we'll go back to green flag racing one more time, not only here, but all the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series as well.
Your leader is Trent Ringler, or check that, the 4 car of Jordy Lopez. Trent Ringler running in position number 2 on that outside line. Pace car is off. And here they go. Green flag flies, and we're back underway. And Joe, I think some of those drivers behind the forecourt of Jordi Lopez anticipated him to go a little bit quicker than he did. Saw a lot of bunching up, and you're going to see it in the middle of the pack. Around Matthew Bright in the 11, they're going 3 wide.
Leader's advantage now is 3 wide racing happening for position number 2. Trent Ringler on the outside, Greg McKinney on the inside. The team driver will pick up position number 2 over Ringler. Now here comes Jason Bernstein getting the push from Ryan Lowe. No, Lowe says, get out of my way. I'm going to go low and start making my number 3 car start to work. He should pick up the position on the number 2, and now more cars, the 726, almost make contact in the turn.
Janikowski on the outside, the 7 car on the inside of Brandon Bowie. Bowie trying to pick up 1 in front of them. They're side by side with Ryan Lowe in the 3, I believe that is, and Jason Bernstein on the outside, and Lowe will pick up the spot and look at Trent Ringler in front of him. Just behind them, the 7 and the 26 continue to go side by side. A little bit loose back there. Blake Bryant in the 8 is side by side. I believe that's a 13 on the outside. There's many side-by-side 2, 3, 4 car battles throughout this pack as we just went green a lap and a half ago.
Well, now it's getting to be go time. We're less than 20 laps left to go, and these guys have a long way to go in a short time before the checkered flag. As these guys all over the track now trying to make positions work for them. Back towards the rear of this field. Let's start with positions number 5, 4, and 5. As Bernstein gets around low for position number 5. Alan Bowes is going to leave Janikowski and Bowie in the dust, the number 6 car. Now the 26 is loose, trying to cut off the 7. Brandon Bowie will have none of it. And now the 19 of Ryan Manning, he's trying to double cross both of them. 7 gets back in line. Here comes Manning.
Ryan Manning is a man on a mission right now. Started in 4th, was all the way back to 26 by the completion of the first lap, and now he is all the way up to position number 8 and continuing to push towards the front of the field. We got 1 loose at a corner number 4, and he's going to try to save it here, but oh man, 3 wide as they go into corner number 1, and the 8 car being pushed by the 14. That might not work for long.
Probably not going to work for very long as these guys continue to get aggressive on the field. 8-13 and bunched up, 14 and 25 right behind them. Hornets' nest building up as the 8 and 13 still side by side. 25 stuck in the middle as the 11 and 14 now side by side and continuing to do business. That's Matt Kocher right in the middle. That will just subside into a 2x2x2, a 6-pack for position number 10 for 11 and 12. 11 and 12, Tony. That's how exciting these guys are racing. The yellow flag out for the 3rd time.
Yellow flag out on the completion of 47, and looking at the back of the field, 22 is the caution. The 20 of Bergeron is slow as well, so those 2 drivers bring out the caution flag, and the 20 of Bergeron slides up, gets a little bit loose, and the 20 car goes around all by himself. And Joe, I don't know if you caught about the 22, but we heard the 22 in the ear as well. He was trying to avoid that, and I think he may have got through it. It was all the 20 car bringing out that caution flag, so I guess our spotters in our ear might have missed a 2 on the end of that number, but nevertheless, Alex Bergeron all by himself. Caution flag out the speedway.
Yeah, J.D. Laird, king of the Galloping Walrus himself, does not handle that car like a Galloping Walrus. In fact, he's going to get through that race entirely clean. It's just going to be the number 20, it looks like, of Alex Bergeron. He gets the air taken off him from the 16 of Dan Denaire. And when that air gets taken off of you, when that rear end gets just a little bit loose, when it picks up just a little bit, guess what happens? You lose that traction and you lose that drive on your rear wheels. Your rear wheels start spinning, and next thing you know, you're going in the spin cycle of your own. So 20 will come down to the attention of his crew this time by, and a litany of other drivers coming to the crew to the attention of their crews as well.
The 19 of Ryan Manning coming down kind of surprises me, Joe, but with the rest of the field coming down with him, I don't really think that it's going to hurt him a whole lot, as Brandon Bowie is among those that is in his pit box. He's going to take 2 tires and probably come around and take 4, as he'll be down and away momentarily here. Brandon Bowie back out in the racetrack as well as the rest of them that did come down pit road.
Yes, but look who stayed out, though. Jordi Lopez Jr., who was leading this race, he's going to stay out. Greg McKinney stays out. Trent Ringler, Jason Bernstein, Ryan Lowe, Alan Bowes, Devon Janikowski, Blake Bryan, Justin Bolton, Chad Coleman, all electing to stay out instead of coming down to the attention of their crew, which tells me we're going to have some very interesting racing here at the end of the race, and I'll tell you why. Now you're going to have a battle of the haves versus the have-nots. You're going to have the drivers who do have tires and fuel underneath them, versus these other drivers who decide to stay out to protect their lead. They're not going to have the same amount of tires. And when push comes to shove here, in about, well, when we go back to green flag racing, about 11 laps or so, those tires could make a difference. Of course, it also could be that it's so late in the race that the tires won't have enough time to heat up, and it may be a moot point. But I've got a feeling that the new tires, no matter how you look at them, are going to give the advantage to the guys that came down pit road.
Look who we found on the spotter stand this evening. Kevin King, your team seems to be running pretty well this evening.
Yeah, it looks like they we had a pretty good car, I think, before the build came out, and I think they had to make some adjustments because the front end was quite a bit different handling, I think. And it seems, obviously, it looks like they're pretty quick. I know Justin got a spinning penalty there, but he's going to roll the dice here and see if he can get a pretty good run towards the end here. He's pretty quick.
And the whole team is pretty quick. Let's ask about the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. You mentioned this brand new build. Have you had any time on the A car? Has Cody or Justin or anybody over there, Kenny Humpy, have they tested this A car yet? And what's the first impressions after the first couple of hours of this build?
I have not. I believe Justin and Cody and a few others have had some laps on it and kind of figured out what the difference is. And you know, the early notion is that it seems to turn in a lot more than normal. I think they did something with the front end arrow where it pushes the nose down, so you're going to get a lot more front end turn in. And from what I've been told, it's pretty inconsistent the way it drives from one lap to the next. And while some may seem that that's pretty realistic, and a void of what we have with the same tire compounds and all that stuff, it's kind of frustrating if you're trying to test around that. So we'll see. I mean, it's always nice to have something to change. We're gonna get it. We have too many smart people on our team not to get it, so it's just one of those things we have to adjust around.
The team as a whole has had a pretty good season, but let's talk about the number 29 car. Are you happy with your NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season so far?
You know, that's a good question. I think I run pretty well, so the performance-wise of running well is always nice. Finish-wise, I haven't had too many great finishes, which is the most frustrating part. I think when you run very well, it's nice because you know you can do that. But when you don't get finishes to back up how well you run, that's the frustrating part. You know, it's a matter of being able to get out there and run with the guys up front and taking advantage of good runs and finishing well. So I've been bouncing back up into the points. I think I'm 8th now, which is good. But I feel like I should be around 5th. You know, I think I've had good enough runs to finish top 5 pretty much every week. And you know, sometimes it doesn't happen. That's the way it is. But running well is more fun than, you know, lucking into finishes or just obviously not running well at all. So it's been good. It's been frustrating, but we still got halfway to go. Some pretty good tracks coming up for me, so I'm pretty excited to see what we can come up with.
Now, before we hit that halfway break, of course, is Michigan. Before we let you go, is the 29 car, is that a racetrack that we can put the 29 car in victory lane in?
I hope so. I mean, I think it was last season. I think the season before, I led a bunch of laps, got the pole. I think I hit the wall as usual and finished top 5 or something like that. I forget, or turned into a few mileage. So I'm pretty confident. It's an easier track, I think, for most people to get around, but it's hard to be fast in the long run. And that's what we'll be focusing on, just making sure we keep the speed up for the long haul. It's so hard to do that here. And, you know, it's a good track for me, so I'm pretty optimistic that I can run well. The draft plays a big effect in gas mileage, so it's one of those things where you can be fast, but it doesn't mean you're going to run well all the time.
And that's Kevin King. Kevin, we'll see you next week. NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series here at Michigan, but we're going back green flag racing here. Joe Jordy Lopez takes the lead. Greg McKinney falls right into line in position number 2. Behind them, they're 3 and 4 wide. This could be good.
And that's exactly what you want to see if you're the driver of the number 4 machine right now with 12 laps to go on the field. You want to see them in fighting. You want to see them 2 wide, 3 wide, because it means they're not going to pick up any time on you. They're not going to use the draft to start moving forward to try to threaten your lead. The 17 and 6 are doing just that right now. Trent Ringler trying to pick up position on Alan Bowes behind him. Blake Bryant trying to almost lose position to Ryan Lowe as 2 by 2. They go through turns 3 and 4. Now maybe 3 wide as Ryan Lowe fights with the 17 to force the issue.
Yeah, the 17 on the inside of Trent Ringler going into corner number 3 that last time by Joe. He drove it in, and driving it in on that inside line is really a fine line because you don't want to get up into the driver on the outside of you. The 8 car giving a lot of room to the 3 and Ryan Lowe on the inside, and that might be a good thing. If that 3 car goes into turn number 3 and drives it in a little bit harder, and the 8 car does not give him room, that's probably going to be the end of the race for at least one of those race cars.
For at least one of those race cars, if not more. So far, a relatively clean race, couple yellow flags, but no major incidents. I've got a feeling that is going to change as we get ready to pick up business here. Battle now for position number 2. Jordi Lopez crossing the line, 10 to go, yellow flag out.
And Matt Thomas tells us that it is indeed the 22 this time, and it is definitely J.D. Laird this time, as J.D. Laird went for a little bit of a spin. But he definitely had help. It starts all the way back in corner number 3 and 4, Joe. The 20, the 22, the 11 running together. The 22 may have got into the 20 a little bit. 20 was already sideways. The 22 and the 20 have a getting together, and then the 11 car gets a part of that, gets a little bit loose, and comes down the racetrack, and J.D. Laird is going to go into the 16 car before he even hits the wall. Dan Denaire are going to go into the wall, and well, that could have been a lot worse for J.D. Laird. He could have went straight into the wall, but Dan Denaire saved him from that, and both cars, I'm sure, are going to be heavily damaged. They'll come down pit road and get service to those cars with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough break no matter how you look at it. J.D. Laird just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that 20 of Alex Bergeron, who already had some trouble earlier this race, he's going to have a little bit more trouble as he gets sideways, forcing the 22 and 11 to pick up a little bit of damage on their cars. Nothing they can't salvage is the good news. The bad news is that's a hard hit to come through and return from this late in the race.
So the caution flag will fly once again, and you mentioned about those guys going at it side by side and the leaders liking it, Joe. Here's another reason why the leaders are going to like it, because there's a caution flag. Jordi Lopez is currently your leader, and if he continues to have red flags happen behind him, he controls all these starts and restarts. Lopez is in a pretty good spot right now.
Well, here's something to consider as well. There is no green-white checkered finish in the iRacing service. Races can't end under a yellow flag. And the longer this yellow flag runs, the closer we get to finishing a race under the yellow flag. So all Jordi Lopez needs is a couple more parade laps here. If we go back to racing on lap 59, that potentially could be our final restart.
We're going to pop in that promo down there on the bottom of the screen we talked about a little bit earlier. You're going to have the opportunity to do it again since we're under the caution flag. If you're a new member, you're watching us for the first time, and you say, hey, this looks cool, I want to get involved in it, do so. It's a great program to go racing with, and a lot of the real-world drivers, Joe, do it. I know a lot of our short-track drivers around here are on iRacing, not as much to really learn racetracks, but to keep your skills sharp as well. Yes, you can learn racetracks around here in the Northeast, obviously Oxford Plains Speedway, Thompson International, Stafford Motor Speedway, list goes on, but it keeps your skills sharp as well, and you're going to get the late model stock to play with this promo as well. If you're a new member, 3 months for the price of 1, plus you're going to get that late model stock, plus you're going to get the legend car and the street stock that's already included within your membership. If you're a short track guy, if you're an oval guy and you want to go racing, this is the best way to do so without going out buying a race car and thrashing every Friday night or Saturday night or whatever night your local short track races. Or if you're a road guy as well, you can come on and you can get some of the road cars and some of the road tracks and turn left and right as well, whatever your fancy is. Definitely hit up that promo, though. If you're a brand new member to iRacing or you want to get involved in iRacing, down there, put that promo code in when you go and you sign up, and you'll be able to play around with this. And of course, a brand new build came out, and the brand new season starts next week for points within the service. So it's a perfect opportunity to come on board and enjoy some iRacing.
Well, you mentioned something very critical there, Tim. The fact that this is not just a video game. It's not just an online game. It's not an MMO game. Yes, it has those elements, but first and foremost, iRacing is a simulation. iRacing is a tool that the drivers, some of the best drivers in the world, learn their craft, hone their craft on. So for the casual driver who doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars to get their car set up, buy tires every week at their local short track, haul the car back and forth, buy fuel, keep up with the car, but still want that thrill, this is the perfect way to get in a car without physically having to buy a car. That promo code where you buy 1 month, get 2 free and the late model, it's a heck of a lot cheaper, Tim, than actually getting everything together and getting in a car. It's the closest thing you can come without spending thousands of dollars.
Back up front in this one, Jordy Lopez trying to lock down this NASCAR iRacing Class B Open Series. And keep in mind, as we mentioned a couple of times this evening, iRacing every Tuesday night. And we come back to Michigan in 1 week time. We talked to Kevin King a little bit earlier. Kenny Humpy dominating the series. His teammate, Greg McKinney, a part of the team. Justin Bolton, who runs 7th in this race, a part of the team. And then you look all the way back as well to Ryan Manning, who runs just outside the top 10 right now. All a part of the team, and that's the team that's really been dominating. But you got to watch Ray Alfala and a bunch of others here at this racetrack at Michigan. 1 week time, and it's around that halfway point in the season, Joe, where guys start to move and everything starts to get just that little more interesting. Can't wait till next week here at Michigan because those guys are going to put on a show. And this could very well be our final restart of the night, as lap 58 will be completed when we go back to green. So we'll have 5 laps to go. If these guys go a couple laps, pretty much going to be the end of this thing if the caution flag does come out.
Well, even if the caution flag comes out early, even if it comes out in the first 2 laps, it still could be the end of the race, because you have to consider it's going to take 1 lap to collect this field in of itself. It's going to take 1 lap to get everyone organized, and by the time you see that, the race is pretty much over. If anything, you might just have a 1 lap dash for the cash, but you're not going to have, at this point, this is it. It's all out or get out. If you're going to win this race, you got to win it in the next 5 laps, even quicker, because I got a feeling we're going to see another caution flag come out before we get to lap 63.
Jordy Lopez definitely in the driver's seat on this one because he's going to control this restart. Jason Burstein going to be on the outside of him as we go green. McKinney, Bowes, and your point leader in this series, Trent Ringler, runs in position number 5. But keep in mind, this is a very long season, 33 weeks in total. They're about halfway through this one. Trent Ringler looking for a huge finish here this evening if he can finish well within the top 5. Pace car going to head on to pit road here. 58 laps completed, 5 laps to go at Michigan. And there goes Burstein on the outside, and we got one jumping way on the outside, Ryan Manning in the 19. And Joe, I don't know if that's a black flag or not, but if it's not, Ryan Manning just schooled this field. 6 wide almost behind here, and that's not going to work for Matthew Wright.
Not going to work for a lot of guys. The 20 now goes around. Alex Bergeron around. The clips of 7. The 20 now make contact with the 28 and the 22. The 11 now gets involved. 3 cars involved. How has the yellow flag not come out yet?
They're going to still be under the green flag as Jordy Lopez in the number 4 has to hold off the field in front of him. The 2 and the 19 continuing to go side by side. Looks like the 19 may be good on this one, Joe. He hasn't come down pit road yet if there was a black flag. Nevertheless, he might even stay out to the end of this race. Burstein going to take position number 2 at the stripe there. The 19 on the outside of Ryan Manning. He's going to show his cards now if he wants to get to the front.
They don't have a choice. 4 laps to go on the field. You have to show your cards, and you got to play everything as hard as you can. Lopez, Burstein, Manning, your top 3. Battle for position number 4 now between the 6 of Bowes and the 5 of Greg McKinney. Behind them, Ryan Lowe in 6, 2 by 2 behind them. The 13 to 17, the 1 of Justin Bolton debating, pushing the issue. He's not going to push the issue. He's going to stay in line. The 13 to 1 now side by side as a 1, trying to push the 17 forward.
19 to the inside of the 2. That is a battle for position number 2. Manning crossed him over, and Manning will move to the 2nd place position. But you know he doesn't want runner-up. He wants this thing to go green the rest of the way to try to mount a charge for Jordy Lopez. 3 laps to go as Jason Burstein fights back on the outside. Burstein wants to take position number 2 back. Fantastic battle for the runner-up position. And as a battle, Jordy Lopez has said it, boys, have at it. I'm leaving the rest of this field.
They will fight for the scraps as hard as they can behind him. Manning, Burstein, side by side, advantage Manning. He will stay position number 2. Burstein side by side with a 5, and McKinney now. They're going to battle for position number 3. Ryan Lowe still in the mix. Alan Bowe still in the mix. And your top 6 breaking away from the rest of the field.
This is going to be a battle amongst your top 6, and Ryan Manning going to try to make it a battle amongst 2 as he tries to run down Jordy Lopez. They're battling for 3rd behind them. Greg McKinney in the 5. The 2 of Jason Burstein side by side. Drag race down the back straightaway. Here comes Ryan Manning on the 4 of Jordy Lopez looking to the inside, and Jordy throws the block. 19 turns him going down into corner number 3, and the caution flag will fly, and Ryan Manning will win this race.
Not necessarily. They're still racing, though. They're still racing. The 5 wants to take the position away. Yellow's out, but it's not going to matter a whole lot. They cross the line. It's over. Lap number 63, 1 parade lap left, and it will be Ryan Manning with the win. Our scoring says McKinney was 2nd, Jason Burstein 3rd, Alan Bowe's 4th, and Ryan Lowe 5th.
Well, Joe, we'll go back and look at the replay, but there's not much to look at. 19 goes down into corner number 3. The 4 tries to throw a block going down the back straightaway, and Ryan Manning says, no, I'm not having any of that, and flat turns the 4 going into turn 3. I don't know how you saw that, but that's how it looks to me.
Yeah, the 19 and 4 go. The 4 does do everything he can to defend his position. The 19 goes underneath him, trying to pick up that position. And the question is, the 19 just bulldozing number 4. Now, it depends on which way you want to go, but more importantly, it's going to be depending on which way the officials want to go. Now, remember, this isn't as scrutinized as the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series is, but someone's going to review this, and someone's going to get points. There may not be a suspension, but those points are definitely going to hurt his I rating as for the incident.
Checker flag right here, and Ryan Manning going to go to victory lane in the NASCAR iRacing Class B Open Series. But Joe, regardless how it is seen, there's no live officials in this race. So Ryan Manning is going to go and win this race regardless what happens. There could be some repercussions following if Jordy Lopez is to protest, but let's not dwell on that for the time being. Let's dwell on Ryan Manning starting in 4th, having a slide off turn 2 on lap number 1, falling all the way back to 26th, and getting all the way back to the lead in 63 laps. That is something special regardless what happens with that finish. He's going to slide it through 3 and 4 and celebrate here.
Yeah, but Tim, you still got to think here. It was a questionable restart. As soon as the green flag flew, he took the outside lane, which is not something necessarily allowed in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. And he also did kind of bulldoze his way up front. So, yes, great win for him. He did early win. We're not going to question that. We're not going to question the way he won it. We're not going to question his abilities as a driver. But if you watch the same race I did, Tim, you got to question how it all came to end.
21 car pulls up to congratulate him. That's Shane Williamson. He will park it here on the back straightaway. Ryan Manning is your winner. We're going to step away for just a few moments' time, and we'll bring you back to the post-race show. We'll talk to your top 5 finishers after this. Welcome back to iRacing Night here on Fans Choice TV, iRacing Live, and all of our affiliates. Saw a pretty exciting finish to that. Very controversial finish, Joe, but we're going to see if we can catch up with Ryan Manning at Michigan International Speedway in just a few moments' time, but I believe you have caught up with our fourth place finisher, winner already in the NASCAR P83 Series this season, Alan Bowes in the 21, or usually drives the 21. It's the number 6 tonight.
Tonight driving the number 6, it'll be Alan Bowes finishing 4th after starting 9th. Alan, let's talk. I think the biggest thing we want to talk about here is we want to talk about your run a little bit, but more importantly, about this new build. What did you think?
It's definitely a lot different than the last build. I think clean air means a little bit more than it used to, because when you're behind somebody, it's a little bit tighter. The front end feels a little bit more numb than it used to, and getting the lead I think would have been really good, saving tires a little bit and just running smooth, consistent laps out front.
Smooth and consistency seem to really be the key out there. Talk about the car and how it ran in traffic. We saw a lot of 2-wide, 3-wide racing all throughout the field. How did everything run in traffic as compared to that clean air you were talking about?
Our car was a little bit tight to begin with, and it didn't seem too bad in the draft. It was definitely a little bit tighter than it was out in clean air, but you know, we were able to make a few passes early on, and we definitely had a short run car, because after about 20 laps, whenever we got a run like that, the car would just start to fall off a little bit and it wouldn't turn as well. But as far as traffic goes, it's going to play a pretty big part, I think, in some of these races looking on.
Your run tonight, finishing 4th, certainly respectable. What did you learn tonight that you can apply to your race in the NASCAR P83 Series next week?
Definitely going to have to start up front. That's going to make things a lot easier, something that I'm not necessarily good at doing. But definitely going to need a long run car. I think races are going to start going a little bit longer with the green flag runs, because you can actually move around a little bit and still maintain position. Other than that, I don't really think much has changed.
Alan Bowes off to work on the qualifying setup on this car, finishing 4th here in the B-Class race at Michigan. Let's go ahead and go over to Tim Terry, who's now down in victory lane with our winner, Ryan Manning.
Okay, Ryan Manning, we'll just put it to you. What happened in turn 3?
Well, I knew he was going to take a defensive line, and I could see it. I knew he was moving lower. And when I felt like I was close enough to drive it down in there, I felt like he kept coming down more, so I just...
And on the other end, you come out with the victory. But let's talk about this race, because this wasn't conventional compared to what you guys are used to. Yeah, you started 4th, had a little bit of a slide off turn 2, which put you back to 26th under green. How did you end up coming back to 1st?
I timed the restart perfect. I mean, I've never timed the restart like that, but I slammed the gas just a second before the green came out, and I just pulled her to the top and went. I don't feel like I did anything wrong on the restart. I felt like it was perfectly timed. But first off, I want to say thanks to Cody Bias and Justin Bolton. They put together a setup that was really fast, really good. The draft is a lot more stronger than it has been in this car. It was spot on in this car, and now it's just another draft lock session where most any setups will keep up for 20, 25 laps. It's kind of frustrating because they had it right.
Now, what are you going to do throughout this season? We're going to see you again on this Class B series. We're going to see you more in victory lane. I think this is your second win with us here on Fans Choice.
This third one in a row.
And you are going to continue on with this one, I'm sure. You mentioned the team. Is there anybody else you want to say hello to before we let you go?
McKinney, I know your broadcast doesn't show the paint schemes that we're actually running, probably due to some your other DWC stuff, but McKinney, I'm running his best overhead door stuff, and it's pretty car. I wish you guys could see it.
And that's Ryan Manning, your winner, and Joe Cortez says, we're going to break away for the top 5 for a second. We're going to talk to the driver that finished in position number 22, and that is Jordy Lopez. And, Joe, this could be very interesting.
Very disappointed. Jordy Lopez Jr. in that number 4 Ford Mustang finishing 22nd. Jordy, what happened at the end there?
I got bulldozed.
just put it in words for me. How disappointing is that to have led so much of the race and then to have it come down to something like that?
Well, when you jump the restart from, I don't know, a few cars back and somehow make it to P2, like on the straightaway, I mean, it was bound to happen. The car was good, you know. They actually worked hard on it. The team actually worked hard on it. But it stinks to get wrecked and bulldozed, but it's whatever. It's a part of racing, I guess.
Jordy, let's talk about the new build in this new car. Overall, you seem to have a good feeling about this car and seem to have a good run overall, except for that last lap there. What'd you think about the new build?
It's actually really good. Like it drives smooth and it drives really good. I really like it.
What's next for Jordy Manning and this entire team?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Jordy. What's next for you and the entire team, buddy?
To just keep on moving forward and just try to get wins.
Jordy Lopez Jr. very disappointed with how it came out. All he could do is hold his head high that he ran a great race and will be back in a couple weeks' time when the B-Class car comes back to fanschoice.tv. Tim Terry?
Don't think we have Jason Burstein here, so we're going to talk to Greg McKinney, who climbed from the spotter stand where we usually see him on Tuesday night to come race. And Greg, for a spotter, you didn't do too bad. You started on the pole, you finished in third. Talk about this race.
Yeah, the car was really good. Got to give a shout out to the team. Great setup. About the one thing to run, so I figured I'd run one. And kind of pit stops killed us. Kind of got my teammate a speeding penalty there, getting in pit road, and it kind of fell from there.
Ryan talked about the draft lock a little bit of the new product, of the new build that came out. Are you happy, or what's the jubilation or not from you for this brand new build and the brand new draft model?
Yeah, the draft's pretty strong, and you kind of just got to sit there and ride. Don't burn your stuff up leading. You better be second or third, just ride. So once guys figure that out, then that's what'll happen from now on.
We talked to Kevin a little bit earlier. Obviously, you're on the spotter stand side of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. From what you've seen here tonight, obviously the B car completely different than the A car. But what are our fans going to expect coming up in 1 week time?
Well, from what I'm hearing, the A car drives a little worse, a little looser. So probably going to see guys that can wheel it a little bit, maybe get a little advantage, and maybe with the draft, kind of keep them in the draft. So it might be more exciting. Anxious to see it. I'll be watching from the spotter stand.
And you definitely made it exciting here this evening. Folks, that's Greg McKinney coming home in position number 3. And Joe, I believe you caught up with our 5th place finisher here this evening. Always strong every time we come to this B car. It's Ryan Lowe.
Ryan Lowe started on the field 18th in practice, 8th on the grid, finishes 5th. And Ryan, the big question that everybody has tonight, how does the new build affect the B car so far?
It made it a lot more fun. I mean, if you looked at the broadcast last, whenever we did be open, I slammed the wall coming off a 2 on lap 1 at Dover just because how tight the car is. But now it's loose. It's more in the driver's hands. And I didn't hit any walls this race. I got a P5, so it's like a win for me right now.
What was the secret? We saw you climb up and down throughout the field out here. What was the secret to getting you and that 3 car throughout the field and keep it moving fluid throughout the field?
It was literally just taking tires every stop I could. I actually I screwed myself over in the end. I went down I think like one too many clicks on the right rear spring perch offset, and it made the car hit the ground ever since. But besides that, I mean, pitch strategy seemed like a huge key in that race until a lap car spun out or something. So I mean, it was pretty scattered, but I would say the biggest thing was just taking tires and having new rubber compared to the other guys.
Let me ask you this. How important is tires going to be on this new build?
In the B car, well, the Nationwide car, it's pretty big since they upped the tire wear. And so, you could do 10 laps and your right front's already at 90 and your right rear's already at 90. But I think if you look at the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, it's going to be a little less tire wear. But, I mean, tires are still going to be a huge effect. and who brings home the checkered and who gets second.
What's next for Ryan Lowe and company?
Just going forward to the peak race on Tuesday, trying to qualify for that, and hopefully not wreck this week. Get a good solid top 20.
Ryan Lowe finishes 5th in the open B class here at Michigan International Speedway, hoping to take some lessons and apply them to his run at the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing race in 1 week's time, when we go back to racing on Fans Choice TV. Tim, incredible race tonight, a lot of fun, but personally I think I'm going to be a little bit more interested in what happens as a result of this race. Repercussions may be coming, and I don't know that I want to be there. But all said and done, water under the bridge, all we can do now is look forward to 1 week's time when the A-car, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing car, comes to the Irish Hills of Michigan to try it out for the first time under this new build. I hope you like tight races, Tim, because I've got a feeling that's going to be one of the craziest we've seen all year.
I think it's going to be more tame with those guys knowing each other, but it's still Michigan. It's still wide. We're not sure what the draft model looks like. We obviously tonight there's a lot more draft than there was previously. 2, 3, 4 wide. We saw it this evening. I think we're going to see it next week, but I don't think we're going to see it as often because those guys know what is on the line. It's a $10,000 championship and a lot of pride on the line as well. So we'll see what happens next week. A little bit longer race, but it's still going to be Michigan. And I think Ryan Manning must have had Richard Beasley in the ear tonight. You just saw the replay of that restart. You saw the him and Jordy get into it. I know Richard Beasley's been around the team for a little while now. He must have had Richard Beasley in the ear here tonight because Beasley's one of those drivers that gives it all every time he's on the racetrack. Congratulations to Ryan Manning, your winner here this evening on the NASCAR iRacing Class B Open Series. That's going to do it for us here this evening on Fans Choice, iRacing Live, and all of our affiliates. For everybody here on the broadcast crew, Joe Cortez, Matt Racing Kid Thomas, Chuck Johnson, Paul, Ian, everybody that's over there in the production studio, my name is Tim Terry. We'll see you next week when we say let's go racing from the Michigan International Speedway. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number one. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone has just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warrior Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers. They compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big-name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.